One of Elizabeth's earliest and most persistent threats came in the form of her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary was Catholic, widowed young from the King of France, and returned to Scotland in 1561 to take up her throne. Her very existence posed a dynastic danger to Elizabeth. To English Catholics, Mary was a legitimate heir, possibly even more legitimate than Elizabeth, whom they still viewed as the product of Henry VIII's illegitimate union with Anne Boleyn. Mary, by contrast, was the granddaughter of Henry VIII's sister and had been raised staunchly Catholic in the French court. This made her a natural rallying point for anyone in England who wanted to see a Catholic restoration. Elizabeth was cautious. While she did not want Mary dead, she also could not allow her to be too powerful. For several years, Elizabeth played a diplomatic balancing act, writing letters, making gestures of goodwill, but always keeping Mary at arm's length. Meanwhile, Mary's own rule in Scotland descended into scandal and civil war. After her forced abdication in 1567, Mary fled to England, hoping Elizabeth would support her claim and restore her to power. Instead, Elizabeth ordered her detained. For the next 19 years, Mary would remain a prisoner in England, a constant and dangerous symbol for Catholic rebellion. Internally, Elizabeth faced increasing pressure from religious extremists on both sides. While her 1559 religious settlement had been designed as a moderate, inclusive compromise, it satisfied neither the staunch Catholics nor the rising Puritan movement. Catholic recusants, those who refused to attend Church of England services, were watched closely by her government, and some were fined or arrested. But it was only after Pope Pius V excommunicated Elizabeth in 1570, declaring her a heretic and releasing her subjects from allegiance to her, that the full threat became real. From that moment, loyal Catholics were placed in a difficult position. To be faithful to their religion was now interpreted as treason against the crown. This papal bull fundamentally changed the landscape. Catholic plots against Elizabeth escalated, many centered around placing Mary, Queen of Scots, on the English throne. The government responded by expanding the powers of the Privy Council and establishing an efficient network of spies, headed by Sir Francis Walsingham. Under Walsingham, Elizabeth's intelligence network became one of the most advanced in Europe, uncovering assassination plots before they could materialize. One of the most famous of these was the Ridolfi plot of 1571, in which an Italian banker, Roberto di Ridolfi, conspired with Catholic nobles, Spanish agents, and the Duke of Norfolk to overthrow Elizabeth and marry Mary to Norfolk. The plan was discovered, Norfolk was executed, and Mary's position became even more precarious. Yet Elizabeth still refused to sign her cousin's death warrant. Her reluctance was not out of sympathy alone. It was a calculated concern about how Mary's execution might provoke Catholic Europe into war. Beyond religion and succession, Elizabeth's foreign policy also came under pressure. The alliance with Protestant rebels in the Netherlands, who were fighting against Spanish rule, began to draw England into direct conflict with Philip II of Spain. Though war was not officially declared, tensions grew steadily, especially as English privateers like Francis Drake began attacking Spanish ships returning from the New World. Elizabeth walked a fine line, unofficially backing such actions while publicly maintaining a pretense of peace. At home, Parliament repeatedly urged Elizabeth to marry to secure the succession. Suitors came and went. Robert Dudley, her longtime favourite, foreign princes like Archduke Charles of Austria and François, Duke of Anjou. But Elizabeth remained unwed. Her refusal was not just personal, it was political. A husband, especially a foreign one, could threaten her authority, and any children could divide the nation's loyalty before she even passed. Elizabeth masterfully used the question of marriage as a diplomatic tool, entertaining alliances but never committing, keeping both foreign courts and domestic factions off balance. Yet the challenges were far from over. Europe was shifting, Spain was preparing. The threat of full-scale war loomed on the horizon. And within her own borders, Mary, Queen of Scots, remained a threat Elizabeth would eventually have to confront. The Queen had proven herself a survivor, but now the time was coming when she would have to be more than just a survivor. She would have to become a protector of her realm, her legacy, and the very future of England.